Introduction. You see a large variety of animals and plants in your surroundings. They all are of various shapes and sizes and also look different to each other. But one thing is common in all of them. They all are made up of a small unit of life, that is, cell. So in this module, we are going to learn about cell and its structure. Objectives. At the end of this lesson, you'll be able to know about the cell and its discovery, define unicellular and multicellular organisms, describe the structure of cell, explain the structure and functions of plasma membrane, cell wall, nucleus, and cytoplasm. Introduction of cell. A cell is the basic structural and functional unit of life. Experiment. Take a small piece of an onion and peel off the skin with the help of a pair of forceps. Put this layer immediately in a watch glass containing water. Take a glass slide, put a drop of water on it, and transfer a small piece of the peel from the watch glass to the slide. Put a drop of iodine solution on this piece, followed by a cover slip, with the help of a mounting needle. Put this slide under low power, followed by high powers of a compound microscope. All these structures are similar to each other. Discovery of cell. Who discovered cell first? The cells were first discovered by Robert Hooke in 1665. He examined a thin slice of cork under a primitive microscope and saw that the cork resembled the structure of a honeycomb consisting of many little compartments. Robert Hooke called these boxes cells. First living cell was discovered by Leeuwenhoek in 1674. He observed this cell in pond water with the help of improved microscope. Notable scientists. Robert Brown. In 1831, he discovered the nucleus in the cell. Jan Evangelista Purkinje. In 1839, he coined the term protoplasm for the fluid substance of the cell. Scladen and Squan. In 1838 and 1839, they both proposed the cell theory. According to that, all the plants and animals are composed of cells and that the cell is the basic unit of life. Virchow. In 1855, the cell theory was further expanded by him. He suggested that all cells are arising from pre-existing cells. Types of organisms. Unicellular organisms, multicellular organisms. In unicellular organisms, a single cell may constitute a whole organism. Example, amoeba, Chlamydomonas, paramecium, and bacteria. In multicellular organism, many cells group together in a single body and assume different functions in it to form various body parts. Example, some fungi, plants, and animals. Each living cell has the capacity to perform certain basic functions that are characteristic of all living forms, that is, cells of heart to pump blood, cells of stomach to digest food, etc. Each cell contains certain specific components within it, known as cell organelles. Each kind of cell organelle performs a special function, such as making new material in the cell, clearing up the waste material from the cell, etc. Plasma membrane and its functions. What is a cell made up of? While studying the cell under a microscope, we will find three common features in almost every cell: plasma membrane, nucleus, and cytoplasm, which are responsible for all activities inside the cell and interactions of the cell with its environment. Plasma membrane. This is the outermost covering of the cell that separates the contents of the cell from its external environment. The plasma membrane allows or permits the entry or exit of some materials in and out of the cell. It also prevents movement of some other materials. The cell membrane, therefore, is called a selectively permeable membrane. Diffusion. Some substances like carbon dioxide or oxygen can move across the cell membrane, by a process called diffusion. This is spontaneous movement of a substance from a region of high concentration to a region where its concentration is low. Thus, diffusion plays an important role in gaseous exchange between the cells as well as the cell and its external environment. Plasma membrane and its functions. Osmosis. The movement of water molecules through such a selectively permeable membrane is called osmosis. Thus, osmosis is the passage of water from a region of high water concentration through a semi-permeable membrane to a region of low water concentration. In this process, the solution can be of three types: hypertonic solution, isotonic solution, hypertonic solution. Hypertonic solution: if the medium surrounding the cell has a higher water concentration than the cell, meaning that the outside solution is very dilute, the cell will gain water by osmosis and the cell is likely to swell up. Such a solution is known as a hypertonic solution. A hypertonic solution: if the medium has lower concentration of water than the cell, meaning that it is a very concentrated solution, the cell will lose water by osmosis and the cell is likely to shrink. Such a solution is known as a hypertonic solution. Isotonic solution: if the medium has exactly the same water concentration as the cell, there will be no net movement of water across the cell membrane and the cell stays the same size. Such a solution is known as an isotonic solution. Functions of plasma membrane. Unicellular freshwater organisms and most plant cells tend to gain water through osmosis. Absorption of water by plant roots is also an example of osmosis. Thus, diffusion is important in exchange of gases and water in the life of a cell. The cell also obtains nutrition from its environment. Different molecules move in and out of the cell through a type of transport requiring use of energy in the form of ATP. The plasma membrane is flexible and is made up of organic molecules called lipids and proteins. The flexibility of the cell membrane also enables the cell to engulf in food and other materials from its external environment. Such processes are known as endocytosis. Amoeba takes its food through such processes. Cell wall and its functions. Cell wall. Plant cells have another rigid outer covering called the cell wall that lies outside the plasma membrane. The plant cell wall is mainly composed of cellulose. Cellulose is a complex substance and provides structural strength to plants. When a living plant cell loses water through osmosis, there is shrinkage or contraction of the contents of the cell away from the cell wall. This phenomenon is known as plasmolysis. Functions of cell wall. Cell wall provides the rigidity and strength to cell and also permits the cells of plants, fungi and bacteria to withstand very dilute hypertonic external media without bursting by building up pressure against it. Nucleus and its functions. Nucleus. The nucleus has a double-layered covering called nuclear membrane. The nuclear membrane has pores which allow the transfer of material from inside the nucleus to its outside, that is, to the cytoplasm. The nucleus contains chromosomes, which are visible as rod-shaped structures only at time of cell division. Chromosomes contain information for inheritance of features from parents to the next generation in the form of DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid molecules. Chromosomes are composed of DNA and protein. Functional segments of DNA are called genes. Whenever the cell is about to divide, the chromatin material gets organized into chromosomes. In some organisms, like bacteria, the nuclear region of the cell may be poorly defined due to the absence of a nuclear membrane. These organisms are known as prokaryotes. Organisms with cells having a nuclear membrane are called eukaryotes. Functions of nucleus. The nucleus plays a central role in cellular reproduction, the process by which a single cell divides and forms two new cells. It also regulates the cellular activities. Cytoplasm and its functions. Cytoplasm. The cytoplasm is the fluid content inside the plasma membrane. It also contains many specialized cell organelles. Each of these organelles performs a specific function for the cell. Functions of cytoplasm. In cytoplasm, all cell organelles are embedded. Summary. Let us summarize what we have learned. In 1665, Robert Hooke discovered cell first. On the basis of presence of single or many cells, the organisms are of two types, unicellular and multicellular organisms. Each cell contains certain specific components within it, known as cell organelles that perform a special function. Plasma membrane is the outermost covering of the cell that separates the contents of the cell from its external environment. Plasma membrane also works as selective permeable membrane by allowing or permitting the entry and exit of some materials in and out of the cell while preventing some other materials. The movement of water molecules from region of a higher water concentration to lower water concentration through a semi-permeable membrane is called osmosis. Plant cells have another rigid outer covering called the cell wall that lies outside the plasma membrane. The plant cell wall is mainly composed of cellulose and provides strength to the cell. Nucleus is a spherical or oval, dot-like structure present near to the center of each cell. It plays a central role in cellular reproduction, and it also regulates the cellular activities. The cytoplasm is the fluid content inside the plasma membrane. It also contains many specialized cell organelles. Introduction. Our school bag contains so many articles like books, notebooks, pen, pencils, etc. They are all put within our bag and are used for different functions. Similar to this, a cell is also made up of different cell organelles which also perform different functions. So in this module, we are going to learn about these cell organelles. Objectives. At the end of this lesson, you'll be able to know about the cell organelles, explain the structure and functions of endoplasmic reticulum, explain the structure and functions of Golgi apparatus, explain the structure and functions of lysosomes, explain the structure and functions of mitochondria, explain the structure and functions of plastids, and explain the structure and functions of vacuoles. Introduction of cell organelles. The cell organelles like mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum, vacuoles, etc. are the components of a cell which perform specific functions. They are found at different locations inside a cell. A cell has different kinds of cell organelles which perform specific functions. They are membrane bounded. Every kind of cell like unicellular or multicellular, plants or animal contains different types of cell organelles which perform specific functions. Endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, lysosomes, mitochondria, plastids and vacuoles are some examples of these cell organelles. Now let us know their structure and functions in detail. Endoplasmic reticulum. Endoplasmic reticulum is a large network of membrane-bound tubes and sheets. It has structures like long tubules or round bags called vesicles. On the basis of presence of ribosome, they are of two types, rough endoplasmic reticulum, RER, and smooth endoplasmic reticulum, SER. Rough endoplasmic reticulum, RER, has ribosome attached to its surface, so looks rough under electron microscope. Ribosomes are the site of protein manufacture, so RER is also helpful in protein synthesis and its transport inside the cell. Smooth endoplasmic reticulum, SER, does not contain any ribosome on its surface. The SER is helpful in the manufacturing of fat molecules or lipids, which is important for cell function. Some of these proteins and lipids help in building the cell membrane. This process is known as membrane biogenesis. It also plays a crucial role in detoxifying many poisons and drugs in the liver cells of the vertebrates. Golgi apparatus. The Golgi apparatus was first discovered by Camillo Golgi. It consists of a system of membrane-bound vesicles arranged parallel to each other in stacks called cisterns. These cisterns are attached to membranes of endoplasmic reticulum. It dispatches the packaged material to various targets inside and outside the cell. Its functions include the storage, modification, and packaging of products in vesicles. It also involves in the formation of lysosomes. Lysosomes. Lysosomes are single membranous sacs containing digestive enzymes. These enzymes are known as hydrolytic enzymes. Lysosomes help to keep the cell clean by digesting any foreign material as well as worn-out cell organelles. Foreign materials entering the cell, such as bacteria or food, as well as old organelles, end up in the lysosomes, which break them up into small pieces. During the disturbance in cellular metabolism, for example, when the cell gets damaged, lysosomes may burst and the enzyme digest their own cell. Therefore, lysosomes are also known as the suicide bags of a cell. Mitochondria. Mitochondria are known as the powerhouses of the cell because they generate and provide the energy in the form of ATP, adenosine triphosphate, to cell to perform various chemical activities. ATP is known as the energy currency of the cell. Mitochondria contain two membrane coverings. The outer membrane has many pores on it, while the inner membrane has many folds. These folds are known as cristae. Plastids. Plastids are present only in plant cells, not in animal cells. Plastids are similar to mitochondria in external structure. There are two types of plastids: chromoplasts, colored plastids, and leucoplasts, white or colorless plastids. Chromoplasts are colored plastids which provide different colors to flowers and fruits. Leucoplasts are colorless plastids. They store some materials like starch, oils, and protein granules. Chlorophyll-containing plastids are known as chloroplasts. These are important for photosynthesis in plants. Vacuoles. Vacuoles are storage sacs for solid or liquid contents. In animal cells, the size of vacuoles is small, while plant cells have very large vacuoles. The central vacuole of some plant cells may occupy 50 to 90% of the cell volume. In plant cells, vacuoles are full of cell sap and provide turgidity and rigidity to the cell. Many important substances for life are stored in vacuoles. These include amino acids, sugars, various organic acids, and some proteins. In single-celled organisms like amoeba, the food vacuole contains the food items that the amoeba has consumed. In some unicellular organisms, specialized vacuoles also play important roles in expelling excess water and some wastes from the cell. Summary. Let us summarize what we have learned. A cell has different kinds of cell organelles which perform specific functions. They are membrane-bounded. Endoplasmic reticulum, ER, is a large network of membrane-bound tubes and sheets. On the basis of presence of ribosomes, ER is of two types: rough endoplasmic reticulum and smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Golgi apparatus consists of a system of membrane-bound vesicles arranged parallel to each other in stacks and they are called cisterns. It dispatches the packaged material to various targets inside and outside the cell. Mitochondria are known as the powerhouses of the cell because they generate and provide the energy in the form of ATP to cell to perform various chemical activities. Plastids are present only in plant cells, not in animal cells. Most plant cells have large membranous organelles called plastids, which are of two types, chromoplasts and leucoplasts. Chromoplasts that contain chlorophyll are called chloroplasts, and they perform photosynthesis. The primary function of leucoplasts is storage. Most plant cells have a large central vacuole that helps to maintain the turgidity of the cell and stores important substances including wastes.